Hey, good morning internet. So, a lovely Saturday morning here in quite sunny Shropshire, and it's quite mild again, so I thought I'd make the most of it and come and have a play in the garage. Right, so it's going to be a will it start video. So yeah, we're going to be looking at the D1 donor today, and because I haven't given it any attention at all really, apart from to pinch bits off it, as you know. So I thought, well, I've got a charged up battery, we've got some fuel because I bought some yesterday, a couple of ready cans full of fuel. I thought, you know, I've already done the carbs for the D1, the donor, and they are now back on the bike, so I thought, well, let's put the battery on. Well, check the oil first, of course, make sure it's got some in it, and we'll get the battery on and see what occurs. The chain is still soaking in oil. I've got a split link somewhere, you know, the actual split link to join the two ends, but I can't find it, so I've made one. I've made one with my trusty chain splitter and a bit of old chain, so just enough to hold the chain on when we put that back on. Yeah, so not sure what'll happen, but I thought, you know, we'll give it a go while I've got some time. So yeah, let's see if we can't get it going. So of course, the history to this D1 is it was last used about 8 or 9 years ago by this chap I bought it from in France, and it's just been sat in the garage, not covered up or anything since then. Well, I don't think it's been covered up because it was really covered in that grime when I got it. You know, just that dirt and damp, and you know, just years of grime really. So anyway, yeah, hasn't been run for about 9 years or thereabouts. He did say it was running and he was using it prior to taking it off the road, and he was going to do it as a restoration, but I don't know, who knows. Let's see what we can find out. Okay, so yeah, let's have a look. Right then, so battery's on, and the only thing that works is the horn. So everything else seems to be dead, so I imagine it's going to be corroded terminals, isn't it? But I don't know, you know, so yeah, we'll just start working our way through some of these. We haven't got a neutral light, nothing, none of the lights work. Oh, I haven't tried the starter motor, is dead as a dodo, so I imagine it's just going to be corroded wires probably, but we'll sort of start working our way through. Got a couple of wires down there, I'm not sure where they go, but they look quite like they should go somewhere. Right, we're just going to start working our way through the wires and see if we can't get some life out of the old girl yet. Okay. So one of the other really nice things about buying this bike was it came with the original owner's manual. I mean, how rare is this? But as you know, if you know, in the back of the owner's manual on these was a wiring diagram specifically for, obviously, the GPz550D1. So that's really quite handy. So I'm going to refer to that because I think it's a fuse or something like that. I mean, it could well be that one of these wires here should be going somewhere, so we'll use the wiring diagram to trace those back. But yeah, it's as dead as a dodo. There's no ignition circuit. There's a bare minimum. As I say, the only thing that's working is the horn, so something's being stopped somewhere. So we're just going to work through that a little bit and see if we can find some information out from the lovely owner's manual. So yeah, okay. So after a bit of head scratching, I thought, well, I mean, the wiring has been really bodged up on this one as well. There's connectors everywhere, and I've cleaned up a few of the connections, and it's still no life in it, apart from the horn. So, you know, all's good if somebody jumps out in front of us while stationary in the garage. Okay, so I thought, well, I just have to use one of the others as a pattern. So I've got the Z550 out and popped the side off that because Tom, if you remember from TT Motorcycles, did the wiring for me on, you know, the fundamental wiring to get it to power up and you know, just leaving me with the lights and the indicators and stuff to do. But you know, he got it running, he got the button going on, the starter button and everything. So I thought, well, I'll have a look, because there's quite a few wires on the donor D1 that I recognise, and they should be elsewhere. Oh, they should be plugged in, sorry. One thing that is a bit odd is the fuse box on the donor is different. They've usually got their fuse box under the left hand side panel, sort of in a little case. I think there's 3 fuses in there. I can't remember, you know, an original D1 and whether or not they're like that. I mean, it's a long time ago, I really can't. But this one has got a completely different sort of style of fuse box under the seat, with the fuses sort of exposed. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, so you can see here on the donor D1, the fuse box is sort of, it looks like it should have a cover on it, you know, a lid, but it's just like that under the seat. Whereas on the Z550, which is how I remember them, they had a little plastic cover under the left hand side with the fuses in there, but I'm not too sure. I think we're going to get that battery off as well, off the Z550, and give it a charge, and maybe use that on the D1. But you know, that battery's been on a tender for a while, so it should be fine. Okay, let's have a cup of tea and then carry on. Charlie destroying my lovely wife's herbs, whilst Oscar watches on doing nothing. I'll tell you what though, I absolutely hate working in this mess. I've got to sort this garage out. You know, I'm going to have to get rid of the Z550, it's just got to go. It's really doing my head in. I'm quite a neat and tidy person when it comes to having my tools out and using stuff and keeping my work area clean. I mean, I wouldn't think so to look at the garage at the moment. It's really blowing my OCD away, I tell you. So yeah, we'll have to get to that. Right, let's start comparing wiring. Right, so just looking at the Z550, these wires, which are completely incorrectly coloured, this red one should be a black wire, and this blue one is actually a yellow and red wire, and they should both be going to the starter solenoid. So we're going to nip them off and bob them on, see what happens. Right, so we're going to attach these to the starter solenoid. I'm going to use proper connectors, but for now, just because we're just testing and working through, I'll just strip the wires back and I'll just bob them on to onto the terminal, just to, you know, make a connection, see if we're heading in the right direction really. Oh right, okay, so we've got a right hand indicator going now. Nothing on the starter. Lights are working. Well, some of them. Right, so connecting those wires to the starter solenoid has given us partial electric. So the lights are working, brake lights are working, indicators, although I think they're wired up incorrectly, but they are flashing and you can hear the relay clicking. Brake lights are working, horn, haven't got a neutral light yet. I might just short across the starter solenoid and see if we get any sort of activity at all out of the starter motor, just to give it a go. So yeah, let's do that. Yep, there she goes. Right then, that's a bit of success, isn't it? So it's definitely those wires there. Not too sure why the starter button doesn't work, but doesn't this just echo of the Z550? Exactly the same wiring problem that we had with that. So really as well, this is going to be only part one of the will it start video for the D1, mainly because there's no exhaust on it, and we've got a few exhaust studs missing, so I've got to investigate as to if they're broken off or if they just need some putting in. I've got some somewhere that I can use. So what we're going to do now, just to reassure us that the ignition system's working, we'll just see if we've got a spark. Okay, let's just whip a plug out and have a look. That is really tight in there, so I'm going to give it a bit of a squirt. No spark, but I think that's probably down to the corrosion on the coil packs, and all those connectors need cleaning up a bit. So I'm going to leave it there for today because I've got a lot of stuff to do, but in the next video what we'll be doing is cleaning up all those connections and looking at the exhaust studs to see if we can't get some in, and then we'll bob one of the pipes on and see how we go from there. But at least we know no engine seized. The plug was really quite wet, but yeah, we just need to get it sparking, don't we, really? And I think that's just going to be a bit of maintenance. So yeah, stick with me. Part 2, we'll see if we can get a bit further on with the can we get it going. I couldn't leave it alone. I just have to have a bit of a look at the exhaust studs. So the first hole I've tried, because I've got some exhaust studs, just put it down somewhere, went in and it's no problem at all. So that one's definitely not got a broken one in there. But there's a couple of the studs that look like they've been replaced just by threaded bars. So I don't know whether to try and get them out and replace them with the ones that I've got or not. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a go. I mean, I don't want to make work for myself, but equally they look too long. So I'm just going to bob a couple of nuts on, you know, tighten them back on themselves, and then see if I can just ease them out. If I can't, then it's a job for another day. But you know, I just wanted to have a bit of a look before I call it a day. Let's have a bit of a look. So I'm not too sure how well you can see that, but if you look at this one, you've obviously, you know, it's like this one, isn't it? This is a new stud, and you know, you've got the long end and the short end, and you obviously put the short end in, leaving the long end exposed. I thought, was it that way? Anyway, as you can see on this one, it's just a threaded bolt, so I don't know whether these have been bodged in. That is broken. Oh yeah, that is proper broken. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh dear. Can you see that there? Right up there. See if I can get you a better angle. See it? Oh yeah, look. It's proper bossed off, that is. So I'm not too sure what we'll do with that one. Maybe it will hold an exhaust, I don't know. But otherwise it's a head, isn't it? And we don't really want to go down that route. Same with that one. Well, it's not broken, but it's got the long thread in. And on the opposite side, it's a bit difficult to see from here, but they look alright. They're proper studs. There's one missing there. Yeah, I'll give it a bit of a try to see if this will go in. Oh, feels okay. Yeah, I think they just need soaking. They're just corroded, but there's no broken studs in there. Okay, so that was part one of Will It Start with the Donor D1. As you could see, we've got a bit of a predicament really as to what, if anything, we do with the cylinder head. I guess it'll all depend whether or not one of these will fit, and whether we can get the exhaust on, and whether or not it blows or not. I mean, I suppose if it doesn't blow, I could put some, you know, that metal putty just round that bottom edge where it's cracked off, and then paint it. I mean, the engine's going to have to be painted anyway. I certainly don't want it to be seen as a bodge, but I don't really know what to do other than do you send them away? Can that be repaired? I don't know. It looks like a mighty big job though. So I think what we'll do is, if we can get an exhaust on it, and we'll fire it up. I mean, you know, it's not far off firing up, is it really? I've just got to sort the spark out, and I'm sure that'll be okay. But you know, shorting across the starter solenoid, turned the engine, so we know it's not seized. I've dropped a bit of oil down the bores anyway, just because it's been a long time since it's been run. I don't think it's going to be that much of a trial to get it running now, but you know, I'm a bit disappointed about finding out that the head's damaged like that, you know, because the sellers certainly didn't mention it to me, and they must have known. You know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you like to try and trust everybody, don't you? And that's probably a failing of mine, really. But anyway, regardless, it is what it is, and you know, I'll just have to deal with it. So yeah, we'll the other studs have gone in the other holes, so that's fine. So it's got a full set of exhaust studs in there now. It's just these funny ones at the front where they've obviously broken off, and you know, maybe somebody's tried to drill them out or something. I don't know, but anyway, one quite clearly snapped off, and that has been put in its place. I don't know, maybe that was considered to be the repair, I don't know. But yeah, so we'll get that on, see if we can get it running. If it runs and it's fine, you know, the engine is fine, then we'll probably do what I suggested with the that metal putty stuff. If the engine is damaged in any way, or the head gasket's gone, then it's going to have to come apart anyway, so we'll look at getting that sort of repaired or something. Right, okay, so I think we got quite far. I'm quite pleased with what we've done. The fuel that came out of the tank, it was a bit stinky, but you know what, it wasn't as bad as you'd thought. I mean, it was off, you know, it's gone quite yellow, but I think as well, with the fact that there's liquid in the bottom of the tank, it stops them rotting through. If it's empty, then you know, they're corroding. And looking in the top of the tank as well, it looks really clean in there, so I don't think we're going to have to line it out or anything, which is good. So yeah, let's just overcome the little issues that we've got at the moment. I've had enough for today now. I've got other stuff I need to go and do, but next time, in part 2 of Will It Run, hopefully it will run, and you know, we'll go from there, and I'm sure that'll be quite exciting. So yeah, okay, join me for part 2 next week. I'll see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.